2029 is here. We are facing Paul Skeens and the Pirates on opening day. I'm looking forward to watching that a little bit. We might get, well, let's just say it's going to be a good test for our team to face Skeens. That's a tough matchup opening day. But before we get in there, as we always do, let's talk a little bit about our lineup, talk a little bit about our rotation. We'll start with the rotation. I went over this towards the end, I guess at the very end, at the last episode, that I've got a strategy put together for this year. We have two bona fide good pitchers at the top, the front end of the rotation. We have Emerson Hancock, who has improved and always seems to punch above his weight. I like using that term for him. He gave us 167 innings last year with a 3.40 ERA, and then the year before, not quite as good, 3.96 ERA. But we've got two rookies, two names that we drafted in the very first year, Austin Fredrickson out of Maryland and Aaron Pyle, who I have thought has been our number one pitching prospect really this whole rebuild. There's some good guys in there that are younger, but I felt like this guy, I had a lot of confidence in him. So they're going to come up and they're going to play this year. And it's a little bit of a risk, two rookies, but we've got backup plans. So we talked about Alexander and Lesko, who Alexander is 34. He's a lefty, but he's got 67 stamina for a reliever. And he pitched out of his mind last year in 128 innings at a 3.02 ERA, a 1.11 whip. So if any of these guys are struggling, Alexander can come in and salvage a game, or we could even slot him in the rotation. And then we also have another rookie in Dylan Lesko, who's been in AAA for, I think, this entire rebuild. I don't think he's going to be amazing, but he has pitched well in AAA. And he's still got room for growth. And if he is knocking it out of the park and one of these guys is struggling, like Fredrickson, who's got the lower stamina, I could easily switch those. So there's some things that are up in the air, but that's the plan. As far as the relievers, we've got Brito, Holton, and Henriquez in middle relief. I'll just flip through these guys really quick if you're interested. And then we have our stud, Drew Rasmussen. He's actually in the setup role this time. I might move him around, but through spring training, he moved his way to the setup role. We'll see about that. I did have Holton in there initially, so I may flip that. And then we have Jojo Romero, lefty, who had a really good year, especially 2 years ago, 66 innings with a 1.91 ERA. Not as good in 27. And then very good last year. He didn't get as many innings as he really could, but we're hoping that he has a year like last year. And then we have Ben Joyce in the closing role. Again, not sure about that. I'm actually going to switch. Yeah, I had Jojo Romero in the closing role. So, okay, let's go back to that. It's flexible. We can move these things around. But I think this is a good staff. I really do. I think this is a good staff. And it's not overly expensive. Only these two guys, McClanahan and Boz, really cost us any significant amount of money. Let's talk about the lineup. So the lineup versus righties is going to go Palacios, Edwards, Williamson, Nootbaar, Torres, who we signed in this past offseason, Figueroa playing third base. He crushes righties. Good vision and discipline too, and clutch. So he's actually, I think this dude's super underrated. We traded for him at some point. And yeah, he's flexible too. He can play first, short, and right field. Shanuel, who we're familiar with, Wenzel Perez, who we signed to a 4-year, $14 million deal to play center field for us. And yeah, he's switch hitter. He's also very flexible too. Gives us options. He can play second base, third base, shortstop, left field, and right field. And then Carson Williams is going to be a major leaguer this year. He has consistently hit in AAA better than his numbers show. I actually don't really know how, to be honest with you. Maybe it's something to do with his potential, and that gives him a boost when the CPU runs the simulation behind the scenes. But either way, he is going to play gold glove defense at short, and that's what I want. Xavier Edwards is a shortstop, but if you look at his defense, it is terrible. Terrible. So he's here to DH just like he did in the past. So I'm excited to see how Carson does. The bench has Rushing, Caminero, Nolo, and Gillen. who's also a rookie, and he is a flexible bench bat who can really, he can play pretty much every position, just a true athlete. He's only 23, so he's going to come up. Nalo's going to be a pinch hitter for us late in games, although he is going to start. We'll switch over to look at the lefties. The lineup's slightly different. Palacios, Edwards, and Williamson. Then we are bringing in Junior Caminero, and I need to spend a minute or two on Junior. In my heart of hearts, I want Junior to be a cornerstone piece of this team. I really do. He's up-and-coming stud in real life. He's awesome. I love him. He's probably the next Rays franchise guy. He has just not really hit his stride in this. And last year he was terrible. Terrible. The best year he had was way back in 2025. I don't know what his deal is. I really don't. But he's got one more year arb. He's $5.6 million this year. And I want him to just hit lefties. Junior, you're just here to hit lefties. And I want to see if that propels him to a good year and gives him some really good increases in his attributes, and then we'll make a decision. But the budget's already pretty high. And I'm not going to shell out a long-term deal for Junior if he doesn't show me something this year. This is the year for Junior. It's now or never. All right, that's it on Junior. Gleyber Torres, second base. Nalo comes in against lefties. He's got 64 contact, but 84 power against lefties. So I just want him to crush lefties. Sean Noel's in here. Juancio Perez is in here. And then Carson Williams. So that's the plan. That's the roster. That's the rotation. The CPU doesn't love us. They got a 17th. We are going to be a playoff team this year. We are going to be a playoff team. I've predetermined this in my mind. If we're not going to do it with this roster, if any one of these guys in the rotation or the lineup is struggling, I'm going to cash in pitcher draft picks that we've stocked up and make trades. I'm going to do whatever I need to do to get us in the playoffs because I really thought we were going to be there last year, and we got screwed by injuries. We totally got screwed. So barring that doesn't happen again, knock on wood, I think we got a good shot. So that's enough from me. Let's watch some baseball. Skeens, McClanahan coming right up. Pirates, Rays, it is opening day at the Trop. The Pirates have a really good team in this franchise rebuild. And there's Carson Williams making his major league debut. The fans are on their feet, excited to kick off a new year, and so am I. Graham Williamson, they have high hopes for him, as do I. Rookie of the year last year. Clanahan's going to take the hill. 2-2 to Triolo. And he got him with a curveball. Follows up the walk with his first strikeout of the year. He's not a super tall guy, but he's got a ton of velo. And part of the reason for that is he absolutely launches himself off the mound with his back leg and just hurls himself towards the plate, which gives him better extension. And he's going to look to make the play here. Can he turn two to second for one? Torres makes the turn, and what a beautiful play. Shane doing it himself. And here's Skeens. He had a bad year last year. 4.16 ERA. I'd love to see his FIP because his whip was 1.17. That's surprising to me. He's an absolute beast. Skeens has a dominating presence on the mound. 6'6", 6'7", and Palacios grounds that to short. It's Willie Castro making the play. He's on the Pirates. And you see Naylor there at first base. The Pirates have steadily signed a lot of guys throughout the year. Here's our lineup. I've talked about it a lot in the intro, but it's fun to see the projected averages there. I'd love to see OPS as well. Full count to Xavier Edwards. That misses low. So a walk for Edwards, and that is going to bring up our stud, Graham Williamson. We'll do it again. Count is still full to Williamson. Skeens delivers. The runner is in motion, and that is popped up to center field. And that is Byron Buxton in center. So another guy, another import to the Pirates. He's got to produce this year. He just does. We got unlucky last year. He got hurt the last 2 months of the season when we were trying to make the playoffs. As he goes down, looking at a pitch right down the middle. Skeens is able to work around a walk just like McClanahan. Still no hits through one. 1-2 pitch to Bay. McClanahan looking for a ground ball double play here. As that is blooped into center field, there's going to be a play at the plate. Throw comes home, not in time. And the Pirates are on the board first in the top of the third. 2-2 to Brian Reynolds. And he grounds that towards Gleyber Torres looking for redemption. He's going to go to first with it and makes the play. So Shane gives up one in the third. Crowd trying to encourage the Rays here. Let's go Rays chant in the background. 1-2 count to Wenceel Perez. And he's going to send that up the left field line. This could be extra bases. That is headed to the corner. Reynolds plays it off the wall. Hits the cutoff man. No play at second. Wenceel Perez with a leadoff double. Full count. And that misses in. So he walked him. 3-2 to Williamson. 2 runners on. And he grounds out to first base. That would have been ball 4, but instead, Skeens is able to work around 2 base runners, and the Pirates get out of it again in the third, although we did mount some sort of fight there. Full count to Figueroa. And that is lined into right center. That's going to be a gap shot. Runner's going to be rounding third, headed towards the plate. Buxton fields it, hits the cutoff man, and that's a RBI double for Figueroa. He's fired up. Rays tie it in the bottom of the fourth. Perez grounds it to second, to short. Long throw makes the play. The Rays put up 1 in the fourth. Full count to Willie Castro. And that is grounded down the third baseline. That's a fair ball. Palacios grabs it, fires into second, and they got him. What a play. Palacios cuts down extra bases. Let's see that again. Good hard throw. And Torres puts the tag. Pirates going to make a pitching change here. Going to come on with the lefty Luis Fernandez. Just check here real quick. Fernandez drafted round 3 of 25. Nice stats. He's making his major league debut. See what he's got. Oh, he's a side armor. Oh, that's so sick. That is so cool. How about this delivery? Oh, I want this guy. I want this guy now. And he goes down looking. That was gross. I might have to get this guy just because I want to watch a side armor pitch in a Rays uniform. This dude is awesome. Little 1-2 to Butler. And he struck him out. Beautiful. 3-2. Oh, what a beauty. Curves that one in there. On the outside corner, Bay goes down looking. Rasmussen with 2 strong innings. And he's fired up. And that is hit high in the air to right field. If it's fair, it's gone, and it is fair. Josh Jung puts one in the bleachers to give the Pirates the lead. And the game is now on Steven Figueroa's bat with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. 2-2. Swing and a ground ball right to second base. That's going to do it. Paul Skeens and the Pirates take down the Rays on opening day at the Trop. Count is full to Kim Anero, looking to be a walk-off hero in the bottom of the 9th against the Rockies. Pitches on its way, and that misses down. Bases loaded. Theo Gillen's going to come in off the bench. Rookie this year as a pinch runner, and that brings up Gleyber Torres. The bases loaded, 2 outs, bottom of the 9th, Rays down 1. Swing at the first pitch, popped it up into left center field, and that is going to do it. The Rockies close out the Rays. 4-4 start to the season for the Rays as we take 1 of 3 from the Pirates, 1 of 3 from the Rockies, but then win 2 in a row against St. Louis. It's time to start scouting. First week of scouting for 2029. Gleyber Torres now. Can he extend the game? 303 to start the year. And he gets into that one, driven to left center field, and tracked down and caught. Twins end up getting this one. Just over 3 weeks into the season, we are 11-10 to start the year, sitting one game behind the Red Sox in the division. Quick check here, McClanahan 2.96 ERA to start the year. Shane Baz 3.52, Hancock 3.32, Fredrickson 3.66, and Pyle of 4.43. Alexander has not given up a run in 4 innings. Lesko with a 2.08 ERA through 13 innings. Johnny Brito not doing too well. Holton's been excellent. Henriquez has been good. Rasmussen, Joyce, and Romero have all been very good to start the year. On the lineup side, Palacios 246, Edwards 222, Graham Williamson 216 with 3 homers. Nootbaar having a good start to the year, 323 with 2 homers. Gleyber Torres also off to a hot start. Figueroa's hitting well. Nolan Shonowill's doing well. Wenzel Perez, a little bit of a slow start, and Carson Williams has not yet been able to get things going, but he is defensive first. We'll see if he can get the hitting figured out. Rushing, backup catcher Camanero's been cold to start the year. Now Lowe has 4 homers and is batting .306, and Theo Gillen has only 3 at-bats but does have a hit in there. Bottom of the ninth, 2 outs against the Orioles. Wenzel Perez steps in, trying to tie this game up with the runner on second. And Perez grounds that one to Gunnar Henderson at short, who easily gets him out. Orioles win. Rays in the City connects, down 1 in the bottom of the 10th. Graham Williamson in with a chance. Swings and misses at the first pitch. 0-2 to Williamson. And he strikes out. Blue Jays win. The Rays take 5 wins in a row, 2 against Toronto and 3 against San Francisco, and then finish off the second week of May, winning 5 out of 6. So a good hot streak, which we really needed. 21-18, about 40 games into the year. The succession plan is going to have to come into effect here, as Shane Baz is going to be out for about a week and miss a start, and also Emerson Hancock is going to miss 1 to 2 months. So Tyler Alexander and Dylan Lesko are going to have to step up here in the meantime. Carson Williams has not had a great start to his major league career through 39 games, .427 OPS, and negative 0.2 WAR. I'm going to let it ride for a little bit, but we're going to have to look for another option if he's not able to turn things around at the plate. So it comes down to Lars Nootbaar, who's been having a bounce-back season, batting .300 to start the year. Lefty-lefty versus Bubic. And Nootbaar is going to get to that pitch and drive it into right field. Palacios rounding third, headed home. Tie ball game. Nootbaar able to come up big in the bottom of the ninth. The boys are fired up. Let's win this. And Torres pops this one up to left field. Yordan Alvarez takes care of that. We're headed to extras. Bubic is still in the bottom of the 10th. Rays down to their final out, needing 1. And Perez walks on 4 pitches. Bubic avoided the zone there. Didn't like the matchup. Caminero, hitters count. And he pops that up lazily into right field. The Astros having a great year, win this one. Carson Williams has not yet been able to turn things around. He is still continuing to develop, but he has just not been able to do much at all at the plate at the major league level, despite playing well above his hitting stats in the minors. So we are going to send him back down to the minors. I need a shortstop rental for this year, and Brian Rocchio is behind Ha-Seong Kim and the Guardians. He's in AAA right now. He is killing it. 900 OPS, 2.4 WAR in 46 games, and we'll still have team control on him afterwards. And they're willing to take a starting pitcher that I am not that high on, Antonio Fernandez. He's young with C potential, fairly well-rounded, high velo, but we've got plenty of pitchers. So let's make this move and let's give Carson Williams a little bit more time to develop. Carson Williams back down to Triple A. That is his last minor league option. So we are going to leave him here until he can improve to probably close to 80 overall is when his hitting stats will be viable. So that's the plan. And hopefully moving Brian Rocchio in will give us a little bit of a bump here because we have been straddling 500 pretty much the whole year. Ben Joyce came in and pitched a 1-2-3 inning in the top of the 10th. And a pickoff move, not in time. The Rays now in pole position at home, no outs, runner on second. I would not hate a bunt here from Xavier Edwards. Let's see what he does. Takes the first pitch for a strike. Here's the 1-2. Swung on, grounded up the middle. That will advance the runner to third, but Edwards is out. A swinging bunt. 1-2 to Newpar. Fastball lined up the middle. Rays are going to win it. Lars Newpar the 10th. Palacios comes home. The Rays take down the red-hot Astros. Finally entering an away game, Brian Rocchio is 3 for 4 today, and he just needs a triple for the cycle. It's a small chance, but let's see if he is able to pull this off. He has been awesome since trading for him. And that is hit into left field. Oh, I thought that had a chance. I thought that was hit harder, but the left fielder gets it. It's a single for Rocchio. Oh, that fooled me. That looked like it might have been a gap shot. What a game for Brian Rocchio. We're currently 1.5 games back of the Red Sox, and in the wild card, we are in that third spot. Everything is going pretty well. The only concern I have is that Aaron Pyle he is hot. He had, he's hot, but I'm not sure why. I guess he had 3 really good games in here and then had a couple of rough games. The leash is a little short for Pyle. I'm going to keep an eye on him, and if things keep going the way they are, Tyler Alexander is going to come in and take over. He has been amazing. So I'm going to give Pyle maybe one more start, but the leash is short. So the bullpen's been unbelievable. Unbelievable. Tyler Holton especially. 27 innings, 1 ERA. Dylan Lesko in his rookie campaign is pitching to a 2.73 ERA. He has been awesome, 29 innings. We had to move him in the starting role with Emerson Hancock being down. Let's take a quick look at some of our top prospects. Most of them are pitchers, not a whole lot of position player guys at this point. Chris Padina, closer, not doing too great in Double-A, at least in terms of ERA, but he has had 14 saves and 2 blown saves. Jason Gill, starting pitcher in Triple-A, has a 3.36 ERA in 61 innings. Josh Swigum, 51 innings, 4.41 ERA. He's young, but the walks per 9 is really going to need some development. Marcelo Arnez, he is in Triple-A, and he's a closer that I really do want to bring him up. His ERA is so bad, though. And he is 15 out of 17 on saves. But, yeah, it looks like maybe he blew a couple saves in horrendous fashion. Yeah, here we go. 1, 2. So, yeah. Looks like when things go bad, they go really bad with Arnez. Fabregas, 3.86 ERA. Chris Samuel is a right fielder who has really good stats. I would think he's got a very good chance of playing on this team. He has a 753 OPS. Al Heim, closing pitcher from way back in 2025. I think we traded for him. 3.05 ERA, 20 innings. He is not closing right now, but he's pitching well. And then Rico Diaz, the computer has been very high on this guy since we got him, since we drafted him. He has 55 innings and a 3.90 ERA. He's still got a ways to go, but I like that he's a lefty. And then Vincent Beck has had a 1.5 ERA in 30 innings in AAA. I think Beck is finally starting to get things figured out. My only concern is that clutch cannot really pitch him with anybody on base, but his per nine stats are developing very well. So yeah, I'm feeling optimistic about Beck. Ken Stapleton was our first round draft pick from last year. He's a real project. He came in, I think it was at 57 or 58 overall, but he's only 18. If I remember, he had like 87 or 88 potential, and he has a 762 OPS in Double A. So those are the main guys I wanted to go over. I wish we had more position guys. So that is something that we'll hope to work on. But it's a lot easier to draft good pitching in this game than it is to draft good offense and position players. A very good start to the month of June. We have only lost 4 games through the first 2.5 weeks, including sweeping the Yankees, as well as winning the first game of the upcoming 3-game set of the Yankees. The Rays are up to 39-30. It's good to see us breaking away. We were stuck around 500 for a while, and I just feel the tide is starting to turn a little bit for us. We are currently leading the division over the Red Sox and the Yankees. It's still a tight race. The Orioles are not doing as well as they have been pretty much this entire rebuild, and the Blue Jays are in the basement, 20 games under 500. Pyle had a great start in Minnesota, 5 innings with a 1.8 ERA, only gave up 1 run. So I am going to let it ride a little bit more with Pyle. But again, the leash is short. His walks per 9 is at 78. Need the hits per 9 to develop a little bit. The Rays currently top the awards list on a couple awards. Gold Glove first base for Shanuel. Gold Glove center field for Wenceel Perez. And Silver Slugger, DH, for Xavier Edwards. Williamson is in second behind Alejandro Kirk, who is absolutely tearing the cover off the ball this year. But he's in second for the Silver Slugger. For catcher, Williamson continues to develop very, very well. He hasn't had that great of a year so far. His OPS is at 745. He started really slow, and he started to turn it around. So hopefully he can really turn into that superstar that we need him to be for this team. Nolan Shanuel steps in, bottom of the 9th. Rays trailing the Red Sox by 1. Division rival, 1 out. Runner on second. Shanuel with the platoon advantage facing Andres Munoz. And he grounds that to second base. And that is a easy play. Moves the runner over, but 2 outs now. And that'll bring up Wenceel Perez. 2-2 pitch. And he dotted a sinker in. Good pitch. Rays not able to pull this one out. Boston takes it. Little scouting update. I have found a gem, a 18-year-old second baseman who has elite contact and vision and discipline, also has good speed and stealing. The defense might be a concern, but he can also play first base. Switch hitter, 5'8", 18-year-old Reggie Gray from Tennessee. I've also started to transition over to closers as far as the pitchers that I've scouted. We have Brian Collins, who's probably not going to fall to us, but then we have Pablo Doe. Might be able to get him, we'll see, in that 32nd slot there. We have a lot of picks this year with the Rookie of the Year. We get an extra pick there. Quite a few pitchers rose up the board. I'm hoping that one of these young guys we can find, and then we do have one really good discovery pitcher who looks awesome, a lefty, Pablo Chavez. So, yeah, a few pitchers rose up the board. Some of them fell down. As far as the position players, it was great to find this gem because there are some guys that I could take, but I feel very confident that we could get Reggie Gray in our slot. I'm looking to make a move here, and as I'm doing that, I saw Taj Bradley, who's on the Padres, and he is having a very bad year. So it looks like one went my way this time with the pitchers after I let go of Pepio, and he went on to finish like 3rd in Cy Young voting. So glad to see one go my way here. It's feel bad for Taj, though. Check out the Diamondbacks contracts. They have 6 starters that they are paying over $20 million. Bradish, Alcantara, Burns, Webb, and Fott, and Reagans. Despite us currently leading the division, I need to make a move. Shane Baz has been struggling. 4.81 ERA. He might turn things around, but I'm not willing to risk it. The best year he's ever had, well, two best years he's ever had were right at the beginning of this rebuild, and he has not matched those highs since then. He is also a free agent after this year. Looking around the league, I think our best bet is to trade for Joe Ryan, who is having a career year. And if you look at all of the years really in our uh, franchise window, he has been awesome. Super, super consistent. I know what I'm going to get out of him. He's got 2 years left on his deal, so we can have him for another year after this. And they were almost willing to do this straight up with Boz, but I did have to throw in a reliever prospect just to push us over the line. So, Boz, I wish you the best of luck, man. This is the last of that core besides Shane McClanahan from the very beginning of when we started this rebuild. So Joe Ryan actually was also once a Ray. So he's coming back home. And there we go. Emerson Hancock is back from the IL. Slotted him back in the third spot. Joe Ryan's going to be in the second spot. Our bullpen's been really good. There's no complaints here. Dylan Lesko filled in well in that starting role while we needed him. And then Tyler Alexander has been exceptional. You would think that, in a way, Tyler Alexander could be on the board for reliever of the year, but it really comes down to closers, the guys who are getting saves. So he's not really eligible for that, unfortunately. A brutal start to July. Rays lose 6 of 7 and fall to only 5 games above 500. We are still leading the division, but it is a little close for comfort here. Pyle has really turned things around as of late. In his last 5 games, only 1 game above a 4 ERA. A couple of really nice gems in here. He's getting into the 6th and 7th inning. It's really nice to see from Pyle. Bases are loaded, 2 outs. Steven Figueroa at the plate. Looking to walk off the Phillies in Philadelphia. Tie ball game. Figueroa, a lot of success this year, hitting primarily against righties. Takes that fastball high. 1-2 count. Pitch, and that's grounded up the middle. That's going to get through. Steven Figueroa gives the Rays the lead. Looking to add one more. Safe. A 2-run single for Figueroa. Jojo Romero comes in and gets the save. The Rays defeat the Phillies 4-2. Williams is having some success in AAA. 41 games, 713 OPS. Really good on-base percentage there. And a almost 1 WAR. Just wasn't able to get it done in the majors. Hopefully we can see him next year. I'd like to get him up to 80 overall. I think that's the plan. Maybe if he's 79, we bring him back up. There's no issues with the defense. Just need that offense to catch up. Junior Caminero, who's really only hitting lefties this year, at least that is my intention, is continuing to develop well across the board. However, he just continues to struggle at the plate. I really can't figure out what it is. He's got 82 contact, 78 vision, and 60 discipline. For some reason, he just can't seem to figure it out. We're gonna hang tight with him for now. We're playing well, but yeah, really just wanted more. The trade for Brian Rocchio has worked out really well. 746 OPS in the majors this year. He has gotten up to 1 WAR. Only cost $3 million. Excellent defense at short, and just has that little bit of extra hitting that Carson Williams couldn't seem to find. We've got the 15th pick in the draft this year. It is draft day. Been doing this mostly behind the scenes. I've got 4 position guys at the top of my board, mostly in order here. Rondell Blenton is a 19-year-old center fielder who looks to have very good defense, speed, and stealing, and then also has excellent contact, vision, and discipline. I think he could be a really good option for us if he's available. Reggie Gray is a second baseman who I think I showed Reggie. He rose way up the board. Similar kind of profile to the center fielder we saw, just without the defense, but looks like he is going to be an on-base machine, steal bases. I like our option with Reggie. Brian Pittman is a first baseman, a little bit lower potential range. He actually fell down the board a little bit, but I also like his stats quite a bit too. Jimmy Zamora is more of a second round option. I'll show you real quick. Oh, I guess it's not here. I think we have the 31st pick in that second round. If somehow Zamora can fall, I may pick him. He's got good contact, pretty well rounded on the defense and speed side. Arm accuracy and fielding is not great, but we can get him out there in the corner outfield spot. And then we get down to the pitchers. So the number one guy in the class is a lefty, Brian Collins. I don't think there's any way he falls to us, unfortunately, but he looks really, really good. Pablo Doe, we could get right-hander from Cuba, second guy on our board. Only thing is he's got the low walks per nine, but he throws pretty hard. 2 fastballs, changeup, and a slider. Elvis Macias, we also might get in the second round. I like him as an option. 18-year-old pitcher from the DR. Louis Bird, 7th ranked, similar, honestly, to Macias, just with the worst potential range, and he is 1 year younger. Pablo Chavez looks really good. This is our discovery guy, a lefty from Cuba. I hope to get him in that second or third round. We'll have to see what's there. I really like his stats. I like that he's a lefty, has a 4-seam that can get up to 98, a sweeping curve, a slider, and a sinker. Victor Rosas, probably won't pick Rosas, but I threw him on the board. I'll just flash through these guys. We've got Connolly here. I didn't finish scouting him, but he rose up the board and looks like he could be really good. Enrique Cortez is another good option. Eric Torres rose way up the board, very well-rounded pitcher, 21 years old. My only concern is that if he doesn't come in that higher overall range, which I think he probably would come in at 63, 64, he is 21, so could be hard for him to reach max potential. James Wong, 18-year-old from Chinese Taipei. And then we get to a couple second-round position guys. So Anton Taveras. I like his stats a lot. I actually think he could end up playing center field. And then the last two guys are a couple closers and relievers I've got as decent options. I wouldn't call them backup plans by any means, but if we don't like any of the other guys left on the board, Chad Sexton is a good lefty closer. And then Akinori Nishi is a good reliever, 18 years old from Japan. He's huge, 6'2", 227, sinker, slider, curveball, changeup. So that's our board going in. Let's get this thing started. We'll see who goes off the board early. William Gardner goes. Let's go ahead. Let's sim to our pick here. Okay, so 3 of our guys are still here. Gray is still here. Pittman is still here. And Zamora is still here. So Pittman, 18, 74 to 90 overall. Reggie Gray, also 18. And they look really similar. The only thing is that Pittman fell down the board, so I think he's going to end up having B potential. Gray's got a little bit of range here. And then Zamora's, he might fall to the second round. Yeah, we're going to take Reggie Gray here. Let's sim to round 2. Okay, so none of those guys fell. The other position players are gone. So I just like my chances better with Chavez here. So I'm going to go Pablo Chavez. And Connolly's still here. Connolly is still here. I don't see us doing any better than Connolly here. It's actually kind of a tough decision between these 3 guys. Let me think this through. So Torres, 78 to 90. Wong, 71 to 87. Nishi, 78 to 93. Now, Nishi is a reliever. We have not taken a reliever yet. Let's take Torres. Let's see, do any of these guys fall? They both fall. Okay, so who do we want between Wong and Nishi? Oh, no, it auto-picked Wong. I did that again. Okay, I don't think we could have gone wrong either way. Nishi does go. Shoot. Well, now we've got to go to guys that aren't on our board. You know what I haven't done yet? I have not risked an injured guy. And I'm tempted to test this. I'm very tempted to test this. This guy's overall is going to be way too low. I want to test this. Let me draft Terrell Maddox, and let's see what happens to him with the injury. I have not. I don't know if I've ever. At least I haven't intentionally ever taken an injured guy. Maybe we go for both of these center fielders and just hope that maybe one of them's decent. I mean, they're probably going to be terrible. Let's be realistic. But let's grab Rooney, and then I think this is our last pick here. I don't want to take Carrera. I don't want to take him. So all right, let's go. Let's go with Guzman. I like how things went there overall. I like how things went overall in that draft. Yeah, let's. So we know Max has the injury. Well, I'm curious to see what that does to his abilities. So all right, that's it for the draft. Let's get back to the season, and we'll check out the draft picks a little later on. I don't think he can really make it happen, and we can't take any credit for this, but Joe Ryan is in second in the Cy Young voting. But Casey Mize is he's pitching out of his mind for the Tigers. 1.58 ERA, same win loss. But Joe Ryan has actually kind of struggled a little bit. He's still, I still feel good about the move overall, but he's had a couple tough games in there and some very good ones, but a couple tough games. I hope he can stay as a good piece of the puzzle for us. We are in a one-game lead. It's an extremely tight race here at the trade deadline. I'm looking to see if I want to make any moves. Still looking for a trade deadline move. Look at Soto's contract. I mean, this is the 5th year in this rebuild, and he's still booked for 51 million for 10 more years. Oh my God. Okay, at the trade deadline, this is the move that I want to make. Palacios is on the last year of our deal with him, and he is starting to regress a little bit. He has a career low, 693 OPS. He's only been able to get 0.6 WAR. So, I mean, who knows? He could turn it around, so forth. But I'm looking at Stone Garrett over here, who's on a 1-year deal for 12.5 million. I really like his stats, and he's having a great year. And he's at 827 OPS. He's a career 776 OPS guy. So, expecting him to maybe come down a little bit from where he's at right now. I still think he's going to be really good. He's at 2.1 WAR this year. Looks like he's average of a 2.5 WAR type player. And they almost did this straight up, but I'm going to again cash in another one of our reliever prospects, Agustin Perez, for Stone Garrett, and then I'm going to have Stone Garrett play in left field, which is one of his secondary positions. So I think this is the last move we're going to make, and let's see if this helps us make a good playoff push here. Okay, this should be our final lineup for this year. Okay, you know how I like to do things. The big reveal. I have not seen our draft class yet. Let's see how we did. Okay. I really like the top of the board here. So Reggie Gray, 58 overall, but he's 18. Plenty of time to develop. We truly, because we're coming to, getting towards the second half of this rebuild. Let's see, he'd be 22, let's say, by our second to last year if he went. So that gives him 4 years. Yeah, we might see him for like 1 year at second base. But he looks really cool. I like his speed. I like his hitting stats a lot. He's going to crush it in the minors. So happy about that. Pablo Chavez, 72 overall, lefty, B potential. This guy looks really good. Chavez looks really, really good. Yeah, he's good. We're gonna see Chavez. We are gonna see Chavez, 87 potential. I mean, he could be 80 overall in 2 or 3 years and be on this team. Connolly, It was amazing that he fell. I didn't expect him to fall. 61 overall, 8 potential, 92 potential, our highest in the class. Only concern here, which sometimes I kind of forget about this, is that he's got low stamina, 64 stamina. But we'll take that. Eric Torres, 63 overall, 85 potential, also low stamina, but I'm liking the other things I'm seeing here. Super high clutch. This guy could be a long reliever. He is 21, but he did come in at 63 overall. Excuse me. So he might be okay. James Wong. I can't remember if Wong was the one that had auto picked for us, if it was Torres or what happened there. But he's coming in 64 overall, 80 potential. And Terrell Maddox is coming in at 55 overall. So I don't know if we'll see Maddox, but another good trade piece, which we've cashed in on quite a few of those this year. That's really the advantage of taking all of these, taking all of these pitchers, is they become good trade pieces when you're making a playoff push. And then we just took a complete swing on these two center fielders, and actually worked out okay. I mean, this guy's only 53 overall, see potential, but he's 18. We'll let him work in the minors. Awesome speed. His range actually was getting better as I was drafting. And then Guzman, 23, 60 overall. I don't know if we're going to see Guzman. You know what? I just realized I buried the lead here. Who was the guy who was injured? I got to look back at that clip real quick. Maddox was the guy who was injured. Shout out Greg Maddox. Maybe we could say this is his son, just for fun. So he actually came in 85 potential, but he is 55 overall. Now he's only 19. But yeah, I mean, at 55 overall, he's got a long way to go. So we'll see. Interesting. I have not done that before. Did a little bit of a research project. Wrap it up here. I'm happy with our top 3. I think my favorite is honestly probably Chavez. Chavez and Connolly. These are kind of my 2 favorite guys here. Reggie Gray. He's going to be a monster in the minors. It's just whether or not we get to see him on this team before we're all said and done here. And then kind of got lucky with a couple of these center fielders. So, all right, I'm happy with that. Let's get back to the most important thing, the rest of this season. Bases loaded, 1 out in New York. Jojo Romero, lefty here. Been our closer this year. He's been pretty good. New York is one of the best teams in this franchise, in this rebuild. So it's always a good test for us when we play against them, especially away, because I have a feeling if there's a deep playoff run in our future, we may end up seeing these guys at a World Series. They have a loaded pitching staff. They obviously have Soto out there, one of the best hitters. So it's always a good test for us. And JoJo's on the ropes here, hasn't found the zone yet, and he's going to need to find it here, and he misses it. We just walked in a run. Not what you're looking for there, lefty. You want to come right at him, I would think. Here's Leo Dallas DeVry, who I believe is a Dodgers outfield prospect in real life. So they've got him as well. Oh, he's second base here. I think he plays outfield as well. And now he's coming in. And he's a switch hitter. So he gets to be on the right side. What's going on? They're bunting? That didn't work. Whoa. I'm mid-sentence here. Williamson giving DeVry a look there. You see that? I'm mid-sentence here. I did not expect that to be what they would go for. That was very bizarre. But we'll take it. And now you just need to focus on the runner here, or the hitter here for JoJo, and he's already up 0-2. Let's see if he can put him away. Count is 2-2. And that is hit hard into left field. Tracking it down all the way to the wall. Reaches up. Can't make the catch. And the Mets walk it off. Oh. DeVry is a hero in the Big Apple. That was a tough play, but not the best route. I need to see this again. Credit to DeVry taking a couple close pitches and then getting one in the zone and driving it. And I can't tell if that hit his glove. But either way, the runners with 2 outs were going on contact, and they're able to walk off the Rays. After that loss to the Mets, where Romero blew the save, we were able to take 2 of 3 from Houston, who are a similar level team to us. They're 65 and 53. And then we won our first 2 against LA, who is also a good team, 67 and 50. Let's see if we can sweep them. We cannot, so they end up taking 1. And now we go to play the White Sox. Rays take 2 of 3 from the White Sox and then 2 of 3 from the Cubs, who are another good team, 71 and 54. So a big stretch of games playing some of the best teams in the league, but the Mets, the Astros, the Angels, and the Cubs all within about a 2-week stretch. Rays currently with a 3.5 game lead above the Orioles, who are much more of a power hitting team looking at their stats. We are doing it on contact and pitching. And the Red Sox and Yankees are both about 5 games behind. The Blue Jays are kind of out of the hunt here, but it's still close. That'll bring up Stone Garrett, the newest face on this team. I like the way he stands in the box. He looks athletic, ready to hit. His Clase delivers, and that is lined up the middle. Is that going to get through? A diving attempt by the second baseman. He's not able to get it. Bellinger throws home. Not in time. Stone Garrett gets the better of Clase and ties the game. Good piece of hitting, not trying to do too much. Just puts that right back up the middle. A little magic here in the Trop. And the 3-1 is in there, and that's slapped down the line. That could be extra bases and a run. No, it is a run. But that's going to be a long single. Michael Busch, good piece of hitting, taking that up the left field line. And now Gabriel Rincones, who I don't recognize, is in. And that is popped up to center field. Gillen is under it and makes the catch with a little bit of flair as well. Headed to the bottom of the 10th. And he swung and missed. The Yankees close this one out. Michael Busch wins it in the top of the 10th, and Selby closes it out. So that'll bring up Lars Nootbaar now. First and third, 2 outs. And that is hit well into left field. The left fielder's tracking it to the wall and catches it against the wall. Headed to extras in Cleveland. Full count to Shonwell. And that is lined through the hole. Throw's going to go home. Not in time and not accurate at all as Nootbaar scores, and Shonwell gives the Rays the lead in the top of the 10th. And a little hit and run, and that is going to work out. Although the runner will have to stay at second, but Xavier Edwards successfully puts that into play. So now Camanero's up with 2 on. Caminero draws a walk. Bases are going to be loaded. Liberatore's up now with the bases loaded. And he swings and lines that to left field. Diving play is missed. That's going to bring another run home. And the Rays extend the lead to 4-2. Garrett pops that out to right. That should be deep enough to score another run. Janitor throw home is up the line, and the Rays extend the lead to 5-2. Now Wenzel Perez sends one into center. That throw is going to be cut off, and it is 6-2. And Johnny Brito closes this one out. The Rays defeat the Guardians 6-2. It's September 1st, 2029, so that means it is time for September call-ups as the Rays are currently in the lead in the AL East, a half game ahead of the Orioles, so very close there. For September call-ups, I've got 2 guys I want to bring up. The first is going to be relief pitcher Al Heim. He has put up a 2.03 ERA in 62 innings in AAA. He's got pretty good stats, kind of like a Ben Joyce light. So we're going to add him to the 40-man and bring him to the MLB If you look in the top right, we left a couple spots open in our 40-man just for this exact reason. But we won't need one for the other guy I'm going to bring up, and that's going to be Trey Morgan, who is hot right now in AAA. He has a 800 OPS. He's put up 1.5 WAR. He is one of the guys who has been in our system this entire time. In real life, he's from LSU. He was on that championship-winning roster with Paul Skeens, and he's an elite defensive player with well-rounded hitting stats. And so I would like to bring him up to the MLB. 2-2 to Newpar. And he grounds that right to first base. Caglione steps on the bag, and the Royals win this one. And Williamson gets a piece of that 2-1 pitch. It's headed out to deep right field, but it's going to hang up. It's going to hang up. And in the bottom of the 10th, Roman Anthony with the player of the game. The Rays lose to the Red Sox. Things are slipping. Not only are we now 4 games behind in the division, but we are also 3 games behind in the wild card. I'm so nervous. I am so nervous. But let's go over to the calendar and fast forward here live together. I need to add another person on our roster. Okay, let's do that. Okay, we're going to bring up Chris Samuel. Need to add him to the 40-man. Give us another outfielder. And let me check the lineup, make sure we're all good over here. So Figueroa, Edwards, Williamson, Shawnuel, Garrett, Perez, Newpar, Torres, and Rocchio. Everything looks good there. I think everything's good here. Chris Samuel, we'll leave him on the bench. Okay, back over to the calendar. Here we go. We lose to Boston. I got to fix this lineup real quick as well. Oh, man, we need to win like the rest of these games. We lose another one. We finally win one. I don't even care about the AAA stats this year. We're just going to keep going. Here we go into Cleveland, and let's go see what happens. 2-strike count. Smith, Figueroa, bases loaded. And that is going to be grounded to second. That could be 2 to second for 1. Over to first, and the Guardians close us out. Oh my gosh, we can't catch a break. We can't catch a break at the end of the season. So here we go again. That's a win. That's a win. Where do we stand? Where do we stand? We're 4 games out. Oh no. We're 4 games out. How many games are left? 80 and 79. 3 games left. That's a win. That's a win. Okay, where are we? Is it even possible? It's not. It's not possible. It's not possible. We win the last game of the year and finish 83 and 79, going from leading the division to not even making the postseason. I am devastated. I am devastated. 5 years into this rebuild, and we haven't been able to make the postseason one time. Orioles and Yankees. Take it from the Orioles win the East. The Yankees are in on the wild card. We finished 2 games back. Mariners, Yankees, and Astros all get that spot. What a frustrating end. I mean, who really cares about the awards? But McClanahan led pitchers. He was arguably the best pitcher in the league. 197 strikeouts and 5.1 WAR. Xavier Edwards, with his incredible season, leads in doubles, batting average, and hits. Let's go to the awards. And Xavier Edwards wins the batting title. Good for him. McClanahan finished third in the Cy Young behind Mize and Job. Oh, man. Xavier Edwards with the batting title. Graham Williamson almost got a gold glove. So did Nolan Shanuel. Graham Williamson will get another Silver Slugger. He had a 7. I mean, this is not good enough. This is not good enough at the plate for our best player by overall. I mean, look at his hitting stats. How is this even possible? How is this even possible? I'm so disappointed. I don't know if I'm just going to let this full clip play or what. This video is probably already super long, but I mean, how can I expect anybody really to continue to follow along from here? I'm telling you, I think this is my 5th full, like, long-term franchise that I've done. And every other one of them, besides one of them where I did a draft-only challenge, we were a top team in the league by year 5. And I'm talking, I did the Rockies, I did the Nationals, I did the I did the White Sox. I mean, like, the worst teams. I just don't know. I just don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. The Astros defeat the Diamondbacks in the 2029 World Series. The wild card Astros. I don't care about those stats. We need to hire some new coaches. I guess there's only one thing left to do. Try again. We're not messing around anymore. And we're done with Junior. It hurts. I've said a few times, I want Junior on this team. But I've got a package that the Royals really want. And I want Riley Green. Riley Green is getting paid $30 million a year for forever. The thing about him is he is extremely consistent. Extremely consistent. I know what I'm going to get out of him, and it's going to be really, really, really good. You're going to get 5-ish WAR every year. You're going to get 25 home runs every year. He didn't play as much in 2028. And you're going to get an 820 OPS every year. He's only 29. He's a fantastic player. And Junior, it was my heart that kept him here. My head said to trade him way back in like 2026. He has not lived up to his expectations. The best year he ever had was the first year we had him. And even then, there was 1 WAR. He's going to start to get expensive, and I don't want him. And maybe he's going to go to the Royals and be great, but we can't keep doing the same thing we're doing and expect better results. So this is going to be a transformative offseason, and the first move we're going to make is giving Junior, Tanner Murray, and Phillip Yu, one of our best reliever prospects, to the Royals, and they want a reliever, a second baseman, and a third baseman. So I'm going to give them exactly what they want, and I want Riley Green. There we go. A big part of the reason why I feel like I can give up Junior Caminero, despite his lack of success, I could have gotten someone in free agency for third base as well. There was a couple options out there, but we've had the breakout of Steven Figueroa. And initially I had him in really just to hit against righties, but his stats are so good offensively with his vision. Look at his discipline. It went up 11 last year. And then he's got 82 clutch. I'm just going to have Steven be our everyday first baseman. And we saw him steal bases last year. He can play pretty good defense. I would say above average defense. In 118 games, he had an 834 OPS, 5 WAR. Now, I don't expect him to repeat that. If he does, that's great. But Steven has in 1 year performed better than Junior ever did. We also have Theo Gillen, who he played 19 games and didn't do that well, but he's still got a lot of upside, and he's kind of like a Caballero Part 2 for us from way back in the beginning. He can play every position, so he can fill in on the bench. If Figueroa gets hurt, we can put Gillen in there, or Braden Taylor. So we have a lot of options, and I just can't justify keeping Junior on the team anymore. So I'm really excited to have Riley Green. I've actually had him in a previous rebuild, and he was a monster. And he's already coming in as our third best player. We are going to have plenty of room. This picture will become more clear as I get through more of the offseason, but we're going to have plenty of room for his contract. So, yeah, big move. Do you remember opening day this year when we faced that sidearm reliever? That is Luis Fernandez. And here he is in all his glory. And he actually didn't have like as good of a year as he might have had. But I don't care. I want him. He looks so cool. And so I'm going to give him Swigum, the guy with the name. And he might end up being really good. But we've got kind of a bunch up here between Rico Diaz, James Wong, who we just drafted, Milo Valentin, Darius Lucero. Like, we got a bunch of guys like in this like 65, 68 kind of range that I mean, they probably aren't. We probably won't even really need them at this point in the rebuild because we've got Fredrickson and Pyle coming up and moving around. We're going to have Fabregas in the next year or two. And we've got Chavez. We've just got a glut of starters, which is part of our strategy when drafting. So I just think it would be fun to watch Luis Fernandez play. And the odds are kind of slim that Swigum's ever going to play for us. So let's make this deal with the Pirates. And they'll get a good starter who can play in a few years. But I want that sidearm reliever who can play now. There's two guys I'm looking at in free agency right here at the beginning of the offseason. I want to bring Nolan Shonewell back. He did not accept our offer when we had exclusive free agent rights. I don't think I've ever, this entire rebuild, been able to get a guy to accept that. Maybe you just have to really overpay him. I get that they want to test the free agent market. I get it. But at the same time, almost every time this happens, they end up not getting signed by somebody else, and I end up lowballing them and getting them back for what I offered them during the exclusive free agency window. But anyway, I want to bring Shonewell back for 2 years to play first base, and my big target is Bryce Miller. I mentioned him earlier in the series. This dude is a stud, an absolute stud. And look at his last 3 years. 280, 164, 265, and he also won a Cy Young in that middle year, where we had the 164 ERA and 225 innings. This guy is awesome. So I want to bring him in to ultimately take over the A spot from McClanahan, and I have another guy who's currently on the roster that I'm not going to move off of just yet, but if we can get Miller, I'm going to move off of him, and that's going to clear up a lot of budget room for Miller because they're around the same cost. It's not McClanahan. So these are the guys I'm looking at. I've set everything up to maximize their chances of signing. Let me get rid of right field. We're not looking at right field anymore. And then we got right-handed pitcher and left-handed batter in there. So those are the guys I'm looking at. Shonewell accepted our offer, 2 years, $10 million. I think this is a great deal for him. A little bit lower than what he wanted, but I still think a pretty fair deal. So he'll be back at first base. Just 1 week later, Bryce Miller's at 65% motivation. And I want to offer him immediately for the chance to get him that extra 5% boost if we're the first to offer. And I'm going to offer him more than what he wants. I'm going to offer him 6 years, $29 million. This is going to be our big move on the pitching side. You see our budget starts to get a little tight after this, but I've already taken care of most everything else, which of course I'll show later on when we're done with all of our moves. But there is one guy, I haven't said his name yet, that I could move off of as well if we need more space, who's expensive and didn't do as well as I thought. So this is my offer to Bryce, and I hope he accepts. And yes, we got the 5% motivation. This is huge. So 70% motivated to sign. We gave him more than he wants. I really hope that this comes back as a yes early in free agency so we can get this done. The best available closer was Mason Miller. I didn't want to offer him because we're going to have other guys that I think are going to do close to as well as he is. And you can see he's going to the Diamondbacks for a 7-year, $114 million deal at $16 million a year. No way in hell I was offering that. He was 47 out of, I think, 53 in his save opportunities, which is pretty solid, with a 1.7 ERA. And the Diamondbacks, I can't remember if they won the World Series or lost in the World Series last year. I'm pretty sure they were in it. So they're continuing to try to compete here. Rolling the dice here. Let's see. Did we get him? Looks like we got him. Yes. First try. All right. I'm pumped about that. I wanted Bryce Miller before, and I think he was the best pitcher on the board. He was the 8th ranked free agent. Well, Paul Skeens was on the board, but he wanted like $38 million a year, which, would have been cool to go after the Skeens. But I wanted Bryce Miller, so I'm really happy that we got him. And now we're going to have an ace again for the rest of the rebuild if we don't end up bringing McClanahan back. He's on the last year of his contract. So Bryce Miller, welcome to the Rays. The player who I didn't name earlier that I was thinking about trading, I'm still considering it, was Joe Ryan. And we picked him up last year. We traded Shane Baz for him because Ryan was having an unbelievable year. He was at like a 2 ERA, and he still had a great year. Don't get me wrong. However, he regressed a lot. And if this is going to be a sign of what's to come, that's concerning. So he's on the last year of his deal, and I haven't decided yet at this point if I'm going to let it ride with him or if I'm going to try to just move off of him now and save that $23 million. I mean, if I knew right now, I mean, this is obviously the challenge of franchise. If I knew right now that he was going to give a 3.05 ERA again, I'd keep him. But I'm concerned that he's going to come in with like a 3.8 and not be worth, I would say, the $24 million. So that was the guy that I was referring to earlier. So now that we've got Bryce Miller, that helps me to let the pieces fall into place here and decide what I want to do. The Mets super team continues. Elly De La Cruz, 12 years, $25 million a year. He will be 40 when this contract ends. Draft lottery time. We finished middle of the pack, sadly, last year in the standings. So almost impossible for us to move up, but let's see what happens. Yep, we're going to stay at 15. The Pirates, though, had about the same chance as us. They moved up to the 5th spot. God, that would have been awesome. And then the White Sox supersede a lot of other teams, and they're going to be getting the first pick. They don't really need that. They've kind of sucked. They don't really need another first pick. They haven't done much with all their other first picks. Look at the records, by the way. If you look on the right side, the Mets and the Dodgers were the best last year, 98-64. Tigers were 95-67. You got a couple other guys with 90 wins, but there's a lot of parity in the league. Nobody's winning like 110 games. So that's what I want to do. Baby steps. Let's maybe actually make the playoffs eventually. But, we want to be a dynasty. So I want our name to be in that 30th spot as soon as possible. There you have it. Paul Skeens is a Cub. $41 million per year. That's why I didn't go after him. I could have figured it out and gone after him, but it just didn't feel like the right move. So Congrats to the Cubs. That's a big one right there. He's still only 27. Well, this looks a little different. Um, yeah, I've reached a breaking point. We've broken contain here. $241 million next year is the current budget. Now, that could end up going down because there's a couple guys that are on the hot seat, especially Joe Ryan. $23.6 million. He regressed even two more overall just from spring training. So I'm worried that he's like fully hit the regression at 33 and eight years of MLB service. It feels quick, man. It feels quick for that to happen. But we may be dropping 24 million very soon. Look at the bar chart across the top and compare that to the first episode of this series when the Rays didn't have anybody signed out more than 2 years. And now we've got a handful of guys locked up. Riley Green, which is a huge move. $30 million a year. I think he's going to pay for that. And I also feel the same way about Bryce Miller. The only concern I have with Bryce Miller is maybe towards the very end of our rebuild, this contract becomes an issue, and I don't know if I would be able to move off of him, but definitely in these first 3 to 4 years, I feel very good. I think I misspoke before and said we had one more year of Shane McClanahan. We actually have 2. So that's good because I want to get him into World Series baseball and win it for him because he's kind of stuck with us through a lot of bad seasons that have just taken sharp nosedives out of nowhere. So we have one more year of Xavier Edwards. He's coming off a batting title last year, All-Star the last 2 years. I'm kind of bummed that I'm going to miss him. I mean, look, the last 2 years for us, he's played, and we traded for him in the middle of 27. The last 2 years for us, he's played every single game at DH, and just look at the production that he's had. 6 WAR last year. Part of the key, so he was getting less WAR back in these years. These are the 2 sim years. Part of that is because he was playing shortstop, and I've mentioned before, like that. I don't think that's a good idea with his stats. So we've just got him for one more year to DH for us and just be a monster. 3 more years of Perez out in center, and then Graham Williamson, of course. I'm going to talk more about him in the intro to the next episode, but look at his stats, right? So let's just say 80, just average about 80-ish across the board for his hitting stats, right? Look at Riley Green. 98 contact right, that's insane. But then he's got like 70. 84 discipline and clutch, that's really good too. But, let's call it like 70, 75, right? Look at his stats. 820 OPS, right? Williamson, 734. So I mean, we're rocking with Williamson. He's the man, but like I do expect a little more out of him going forward. No concerns really on the defense side, and that's going to continue to get better. We brought back Shaunuel. Rocchio, I'll go through this a little more next episode, but I wanted to bring him back. He had a great year. But I'll explain more. Emerson Hancock, the cock, brought him back for 1 year, $9.5 million, and you might be asking, why would you do that? He's in AAA at 30. Well, it's a good question. The reason is that I'm worried about Joe Ryan, and I want to make sure that I have somebody that can come in like immediately because Joe Ryan might be, with the way his regression was going, he might be like 75 overall like a month into the season and just be done. We may have to like release him. I don't even think I could really trade him, to somebody realistically. So then we got one more year of Glaber. Figueroa, I extended 4-year deal. He's coming over in junior spot. He had an absolute breakout last year with an 834 OPS. Now, I did put him in a position to succeed, hitting really only against righties for the most part. However, he's still going to get better. He's only 22. He's still going to get a little better. I think he's mid-B potential. But he's still got 67 contact versus left. That's passable. But the vision, discipline, and clutch, which will come into play. If he's got a runner on second, that clutch replaces the contact left if he's batting lefty-lefty, right? So it goes up to 82. So, Steven's going to be our guy there at third. Joyce, 2 more years. This is another one I kind of have question marks around. He wasn't as good last year. So we'll see what we do there. And then a bunch of our relievers kind of sitting in this $4 to $5 million range. This is the last year for Rasmussen and Romero and Henriquez. Last year for rushing, but we have Arb, so he's our backup catcher. I've been getting some other catchers in here as well because I don't really want to end up paying rushing too much, and I could trade them. I don't need two like stud catchers really on the team. So that's about it. I think I went a little longer here than I wanted to, but it's officially time to kick things into gear, and we're ranked at fourth here to go into the season. I've been trying to keep the budget lower in the previous seasons, and you can, I think if I redid those seasons and resimulated them in a different reality, things would have turned out differently, and we would have been in the playoffs. But at this point, for this series, for myself, for the viewers, I want us to be playing playoff baseball, and so I'm really excited. I think we made some really good moves. I think we won the offseason. And with that being said, I will see you next episode as we get into 2030.